So one of the most counterintuitive ideas is the idea of cyberdelics. The idea that there's a connection, a relationship between psychedelics and cybernetics. Even though psychedelics are more associated with spiritual experiences and transcendence of the self, and cybernetics is associated with computers or technological hardware, the truth is that psychedelics and cybernetics are intimately intertwined. In fact, there was an article once that called Google the first psychedelically-informed superpower. So from where does this idea originate? What is the origin story, right? The seeds of the intersection of psychedelics and cybernetics. Well, for this you have to go back to the 1960s. In Silicon Valley, the Bay Area near San Francisco, we were in the middle of the psychedelic revolution. Everybody was tuning in, turning on, dropping out. The whole thing was happening. People were obliterating their limiting beliefs and their sense of self. I think Timothy Leary said, you experience afresh the hardly bearable ecstasy of direct energy exploding on your nerve endings. But what happens is that when engineers and other technologists and material thinkers and mathematicians had these ecstatic experiences, their interpretive frameworks were more technical. Rather than seeing the great beyond as some evidence of a spiritual realm, they realized we already live in a world that's infinitely mysterious, where forces are at play that we cannot see, we cannot touch, we cannot smell, and we cannot see. Right? And so from then they realized if we can free our minds from our limiting beliefs, maybe we can free ourselves through our technical proficiency in similar ways. To the degree that now our ideas can be recorded in silica. The contents of our minds can be exteriorized. Our tools and technologies are engineering miracles, right? They are a reflection of what Timothy Leary, or rather Terence McKenna, called the coral reef-like animal. Right? The human being has become the extruder of technological material. Can you get any more psychedelic than that? We take in matter of low organization, it goes through the filters of the human mind, then we extrude space shuttles and iPhones. We engender complexity. We rework materials so that a hunk of junk becomes an iPhone, a device made of plastic and metal that can communicate us with minds across the planet. We can bring a musical soundscape, a perfect song, to frame a moment that seems to be showered by the sky. We can summon the song. We can direct it into being like a dream. We can craft our waking dreams and mediate our own realities. We have uploaded ourselves into a matrix only to reveal that we already live in a matrix that can be programmed through our technical proficiency. And the digital revolution and the virtual revolution is spilling over into the biotechnological revolution. And then we're going to be patterning biology, which is also software, right? Which is also a subversively psychedelic idea that all is programmable and everything can be upgraded and everything can be retuned and everything can be transformed. And then nanotechnology, which sees the material world as programmable atoms, another psychedelic idea. So when Leary said you experience afresh the hardly bearable ecstasy of direct energy exploding on your nerve endings, that has been made manifest by digital technology, virtual metaverses, biotechnological mRNA vaccines, and eventually nanotechnology creating buildings that self-assemble. We are living in a magical world. And if you could time-lapse human progress, it would look like our minds, our consciousnesses, the imagination is spilling out of us, and we are actualizing the human imagination. We are designing the world and ourselves into being, right? We are literally a thinking stratum of the earth that is willing itself into existence, but that's already what biology is. So it's biology becoming aware of itself, which is also a psychedelic insight. When Tim Doody said that psychedelic experiences recontextualizes the self and makes us realize that we are recontextualizes the self into a marvelous conduit in a timeless whole. We are a marvelous conduit in a timeless whole from which molecules and meanings flow, from neurons to nebula and back again, in ones and zeros, in DNA code, and in programmable atoms, my friends. And that's what makes the technological revolution and singularity we're living through psychedelic. It is psychedelic. It's cybernetics. Cybernetics is where psychedelics and Cyberdelics is where psychedelics and cybernetics meet. That's the cyberdelic revolution in the world we live in today.